Alright, everybody good on the plan?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Alright, let's go. Guys, wait. There's something you guys need to know.
I don't. I'm gay.
Bro, Will coming out to tell everybody that he's gay in the middle of a save the world or else we all die type of conversation has to summarize where we are as society. Because what are we talking about, bro? Who cares?
You know, just right next to Mike, and biking to go get malted milkshakes with Mike. And you guys were there too, and the smell of Mike's hair.
And I don't like girls. And I had this huge crush on someone.
Hi, I'm at the corner of Pleasant Hill and John Young Parkway. I'm in a Walgreens parking lot.
Good day, aliens, humans, and people of the sea. Yeah, we know mermaids are real. Anyways, the fandom of Stranger Things has been truly angry with season 5 as a whole, but episode 7, before the entire ending up to episode 9 came out, just pissed people more off, including myself. This has to do with Will's coming out scene, but let me take a quick recap of what happened with the episode before we get to that infamous part, right? So within the episode, Holly gets captured by Vecna again after she's falling out of the sky. Jonathan and Nancy are somehow alive. Yeah, I know. Can anyone die? Right? Can anyone die? And then, Max woke up, but she's not blind. Yeah, this episode was very, very interesting. Oh, and we had more planning in this episode than we did with the entire season, I'd say. 17 characters in one room planning one thing is truly a mess. A mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Let's say it's a mess, okay? As a quick reminder, in the last episode, someone named Vecna said this.
You're going to be my spy. One last time.
But what Bill says before we get to the infamous part is important. He had a conversation with Joyce, his mother. He said, when Vecna attacks, he weakens you by turning your own mind against you, by bringing out everything inside you that hurts. Remember that? Then at 51 minutes and 23 seconds, right? We had the gang get it up except Erica and the science teacher, and we all needed Erica at that moment, to be honest. So Will was telling us how he was pretending like he wasn't normal. Well, you're a weird kid from the beginning of the show. Like, does anyone know, like, a kid from the 80s who was considered cool or normal when they're playing Dungeons and Dragons and shaking their body all the time? No, you're not that special. Okay, Will? Get over yourself.
I don't like girls.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
But before that, he said some things in mixed up sentences. Quote, we like playing D&D late into the night, and we like the old person smell in Mike's basement, and we like biking to Malvert's for melted milkshakes, and we like getting lost in the woods and getting lost in family video and arguing about what to rent and settling on Holy Grail for the millionth time, and we like duds in our popcorn with extra butter, and we like drinking Coke with pop rocks. And we like bike races and trading comics, and NASA and Steve Martin and Lucky Charms, and literally all the same things. But before dumpster diving on this boy's ass, you know what? It might actually not be his fault that he said that. So let's look at the previous sentences and deconstruct them, because there are actually also clues there that are left out by a mind manipulator, you fucking trickster, right? So let's look into it. So he says we like playing D&D late into the night, and we like the old person smell in Mike's basement, which is true because Mike's basement, we could tell that it's never going to be cleaned, right? We just can see it. The mom is very weird, right? And they play Dungeons and Dragons numerous times within the whole show, right? Even the ending, they played Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry if you didn't watch the ending, but they did play it. And we like biking to Malvert's for malted milkshakes, which is not true because that's where Joyce, his mother, works, right? And it's more of a videotape store and other stuff that you could also get, right? And it's not a place where you could buy milkshake. There's no sign of a restaurant in there. But in the 1950s, in Henry's memory, there was a Malvers, and Malvers was selling milkshakes, right? And I saw some of the people saying, "Oh yeah, but it must have closed down in the 70s." No, in the 50s, basically, milkshakes were really a popular thing if you think about it. And some places, as time goes on, they just shut down. So I don't think so. They could have shown us a scene of Will and his friends having milkshake, but they didn't. Not even once within the show at Malvers, right? And then he continues to say, "We like getting lost in the woods." Yeah, sure. You did get lost in the woods. Remember the woods experience, Willow Boy? I don't think so. I don't think you like getting lost in the woods. Don't lie to yourself, boy. Right? And he says, and getting lost in family and video, right? In family and video, arguing about what to rent and settling on that unholy grail for the millionth time. This is clue number 2, right? So if you guys don't know, basically he's talking about Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is a 1975 British comedy film that parodies the Arthurian legend of King Arthur's quest for the Holy Grail. The film follows King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table as they embark on a surreal and absurd journey filled with various obstacles and eccentric characters. The story includes a black knight, a three-headed giant, and the killer rabbit, among the others, as they navigate through medieval England, encountering absurd situations and challenges along the way. This film is known for its absurdist humor, that's what they say, clever wordplay, and iconic characters, making it a classic in comedy history. Right? There are scenes which I've seen, and they're actually quite funny. But that's what the movie is about. But that is a clue, because if you don't know, the Holy Grail, he didn't name the entire name and said, you know what, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He just talked about the Holy Grail. So the Holy Grail, the cup, right? It is believed to be used by Christ at the Last Supper, in which Joseph of Arimathea received Christ's blood at the cross. Quests for it undertaken by medieval knights are described in versions of the Arthurian legend written from the early 13th century onward, right? And the Holy Grail cup, we could even trace it back to history even before Christianity rose, or the Orthodox Church, or just the Abrahamic religions in itself rose up. So, in pagan traditions, ritual cups, which is the Holy Grail, are often used to enhance ceremonies and rituals. These vessels are believed to hold spiritual significance and used in various religious practices. While Christian chalices represent the blood of Christ, pagan ritual cups embody a wide range of meanings tied to nature, deity, and spiritual transformation. The materials used in crafting these ceremonial vessels often differ significantly from those used in Christian traditions, reflecting the diverse ways religious communities maintain their connections to the divine through the care of the ceremonial objects. Right. So this cup is found even way before Christianity itself. It is found in many pagan cultures, right, where it is believed to be tied to a deity, to nature itself, and spiritual transformation, right? Meaning every meaning, it's still going to be the same, right? If you think about it, since other Christians do believe that Christ is God, right? That itself is tied to being a deity form, right? So the actual cup, right? If you think about it, spiritual transformation, meaning that it needs something to manifest forward in order for it to happen, and that can happen within our minds. Wagner, along the seasons, he does talk about a lot about unlocking one's mind. He doesn't really talk about it in a nuanced way or directly. He shows it. He showcases it. This is why he's mind went beyond. If you think about it, that God that's calling him could have eaten him up right now, or he could have killed himself and went absolutely crazy. But because he chose this new version of himself, even though he was a victim at first, he himself decided to become a villain at the end because he saw the amount of power you can have through manipulating people. So that's what the Holy Grail is about. That's a clue. He's giving us a clue within William's own mouth, right? Because remember what I said earlier. Wagner said to Will, right? Sorry if I didn't mention this. Wagner said to Will before Will got confronted by Joyce that you're going to be my spy one last time, right? And we all know now that the Holy Grail is about the mind and the things that we can do within our minds and how we can go beyond our mind. And I feel like I have to add this guy, and he's absolutely has like this amazing example. His name is Harry B. Joseph, and I just need to show you guys the video because the explanation itself is it's very good. It's very well tied, and I think he explained it a bit more better than I did. Right? Check it out.
Finding the Holy Grail is about finding the Holy Grail within yourself. It is completely symbolic. The Holy Grail is your neck and head. The sides of your head are called a temple because your head is where the divine spark is of consciousness or the mind. You are not the person outside your mind, which is the physical body. You are the inner being, the person who thinks inside your mind. You are the inner I, the inner thinker, the inner witness, the inner consciousness that expresses itself through thought, emotion, and action. The journey to find the Holy Grail is symbolic of your spiritual journey of finding the Holy Grail within yourself. The journey of discovering you are far more than your physical body. You are a spark of God that is experiencing itself in human form. In order to do this, you have to let go of all the programs and beliefs that are in your mind. Truly go deep within your consciousness to figure out who you truly are. An invisible consciousness that uses a three-dimensional body to express creation. God isn't outside of you, God is within you. You are the divine.
Let's continue. And we like duds in our popcorn with extra butter. And we like drinking Coke with Pop Rocks. And we like bike races and trading comics. And NASA and Steve Martin and Lucky Charms and literally all the same things. That sentence, a lot of people wouldn't notice it, but he said, and we like bike races and trading comics, fine. But then he also says at the end, and NASA and Steve Martin and Lucky Charms, literally all the same things. Now, I do have a slight problem with that whole sentence, right? We do say things normally in a fast pace when we're trying to explain something, but he keeps leaving us clues, right? And I don't know if you guys know, Steve Martin is that guy who acted as Pink Panther. If you guys have seen him as a kid, because I used to watch Pink Panther a lot. Even the show I still love the show a lot, right? And Lucky Charms. So I've just found out Lucky Charms are a cereal brand in the US. I don't know where they are also. I just saw that they were a cereal brand in the US. And NASA. So what do these all things have in common? So Steve Martin played Lucky Day in the Three Amigos movie. NASA teams famously use the launch Lucky Peanuts and rituals. Then Lucky Charms is the cereal built on the whole luck motive, right? And the phrase Lucky Charms comes from the ancient traditions where objects were believed to bring fortune or protection. NASA famously adopted its own ritual called Lucky Peanuts during missions, a practice that began after repeated failures and successful launch in 1964. And the word lucky comes from the Middle Dutch look, as in like L-U-C. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Any Dutch person can correct me. As in look, meaning fortune or chance, and entered English during the 14th and 15th century. Across cultures, luck is often linked to supernatural forces, fate, or cosmic dimensions, sometimes imagined as unseen realms where fortune or misfortune originates from. That is very important to remember. Luck is sometimes seen as a gift from the gods, spirits, or ancestors. A person or object can be lucky because it's believed to channel divine favor. Whether you are a villain, whether you are a hero, you can channel these things, whether it's good or bad intention, right? And you have to remember, what does Steve Martin, NASA, and Lucky Charms have in common? The second thing they have in common is that they all attract children. These companies attract children most. It's kind of like when you were a kid. Think about it. You loved cereal. You loved funny movies. As I mentioned, he also acted as the Panther, the Pink Panther, right? You like those kind of quirky movies because they related to your younger you and your brain, right? At that time, whilst it was still developing. But as you get older, obviously things change up. Like right now, I do not view NASA the same as I did when I was a child. Now I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in the ocean? What were you wanting? Right? Whilst I was a child, I was like, wow, they bring people to the moon, right? Now I'm like, you never went to the moon, right? Things changed up. They all attract children, and they all use kind of like, I won't say okay, it is a ritual, kind of like a lucky ritual, using that word around as it channels different energies. So this is actually Vecna, right? This is Vecna because remember, Will has access also to Vecna's mind. This is Vecna using Will as the spy vessel, as he said. He didn't lie though. He said, you will be my spy one last time, and this is proving it, right? Which means it debunked a few things along the way. Other people said that he had to say that he was gay in order for Vecna not to control him. No. He said that as a distraction. This is why other people could say, oh my gosh, he finally came out. He didn't need to come out. We already knew this. This was all a distraction. Because they know it's kind of like in real life how people are going to react to it, right? They are parts which I found like it was really unnecessary to add, especially in the middle of you trying to find the kids, right? He could have said this at the end, and I think the perfect moment would have been after everything, because they have a year and 6 months after, right? At the last episode. So he could have said it during that time and talked to them after everything that has happened, but he chose specifically the time that they decided to rescue the children, right? He was acting weird already. He was already acting very, very weird. Will, in general, from season 2, was acting weird as fuck, and we all know this. Meaning that Vecna, I don't think even Vecna died at this point. They killed him too easily, right? They killed him just too easily. But within that, he was saying a bunch of truths within that whole messed up sentence, right? And before he said that he doesn't like girls, which we don't give a fuck about. But it's very interesting that Vecna is using Will as a test of, let's say, how humanity responds to things. They'll ignore everything else to accept one thing, one ideology. Because let's face it, there are two sides to people broken about this on the internet. Side where I am actually part of, guilty as charged, where I found it very unnecessary to add, and the side where people are like, oh no, he should have said it because we want to be represented on TV. And it's neither about us. This is about Vecna showing us that life is beyond what we think it is. And he's already proving that in the show, saying that he can travel dimensions, travel and channel energies of gods. And I do not know which god is this that is calling him, but I think it's a female deity, and I have reasons for that I will announce on the next video, because you guys have to know crazy things about Stranger Things and the Demigorgons and what they truly represent, their shape, their size, right? All of that. And I had fun doing this type of research, right? But now let's get to people who are actually mad about this on the internet, rightfully so. There was a man who was like, this shows where we are in society. Yeah, it does. Because everything has to be about acceptance now. And we already knew that Will was gay. I mean, have you seen the way he was looking at Mike? Did you see the hairstyle? It's giving someone, right? We already knew that he was gay. What I found interesting is Noah himself, the actor himself. There's just something obviously controversial things that he said before But I don't know, just I feel like sometimes they add things to this on TV on purpose. Because I feel like this is way beyond the LGBTQ thing. It's just something dark behind the scenes that's going on that we don't know about, you know? And I just want us to be aware and open. Also, like, keep our eyes very, very open. Because these are the little things that can destroy generations, and you won't see them until it is actually very much destroyed. And I just want to say one last thing. Go watch Stranger Things, you know? The season 5 wasn't actually that bad. I felt like people were being too dramatic, right? I'm still angry about the Demogorgons, because why aren't they in the underworld? Like, where are they? They used to be there. Wagner found them there. He didn't create them. He found them there. That pisses me off a lot. But Happy New Year, people. And I hope you have a great month. And upcoming new months, I hope the world just gets less war. I'm hoping that's so. And thank you so much for tuning in and hearing me blab about Stranger Things. And I do know that I do sound like a nerd. Because I am. Unlike William, I want to accept myself for who I am. I'm joking. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope, like, you even yourself find more clues within that episode. Because I just feel like Will has been taken by Vecna many, many times before. And no one is seeing it because we're all distracted by the idea that Vecna is easier to kill, or Vecna is emotionally weaker. But even though he had years and years to basically uproot his skills and is a very powerful being who's being, I don't know, controlled or called by another cosmic god who does not belong to our world. So that is very interesting. It looks like it's going to be the battle of the gods. And tell me what you guys want to hear next, with shows, with movies, because it will be a fun little series. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye!